All right, we are at a random playground that looks kind of cool. We were chasing the sun, but we wanted to talk about a little bit of human nature versus, I guess, choosing for yourself as an intelligent human being. So, one of the things I noticed while watching a lot of Asmongold, today's like kind of the last day of me watching or consuming entertainment, but for the past 3 weeks I was watching him a lot. One of the things I noticed was that he kind of talks a lot about how people are in general, like what he's noticed and observed about people. And he kind of has like a more like, yes, it is true in the general sense, but he doesn't take into account like how people can behave and choose to behave when they see it differently or want to see it differently. So just to explain that mouthful of random stuff I just said, basically people tend to act a certain way because we're all human. We have things in common. Should I do this? This seems kind of dangerous. That's fine, I'll try it anyways. Okay, so other people, like for me, for instance, like doing this right now, holding this phone and traversing this thing, like I feel like it's kind of dumb and a lot of people wouldn't do it. But for me, the way I grew up, like, and the way I am, I'm more prone to take small risks like this because I don't really care that much and it isn't too dangerous. And I think sometimes for Asmund, his analysis doesn't really take that into account. It's sort of like, okay, one of the arguments he had for why, like he asked, why would people post on Instagram, like if they're a guy? Like what's the point in posting? Because he thinks that a lot of people just post because like you're a girl and you want to post pretty photos of yourself and stuff like that. Like those are his thoughts. And that's how you get views, because that's what Instagram is, that's what social media is like attention and all that stuff. And part of it is true, obviously. Like I'm not denying that it isn't true, but another part of it is like my reason for posting on Instagram is literally just to contain my memories. Like I post about each month and I post about like what I did during that month, or just like showing events and having those memories on Instagram, like collect like that. I just enjoy it. I just like it. It's just a place to put my stuff. So it's sort of like I'm using it in a different way. And obviously when we're talking about generalizations, like it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, people do this just for this reason, or like that's the main reason. Of course there are exceptions, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like that's kind of a poor view on human beings. And I don't really like it. I don't really like how generalized it is to all people, because I think a lot of people are way smarter than how he portrays people to be, or way better in general. Like I guess I'm way more of an optimist, I suppose. But I think that for a lot of these things, like humans versus animals, for instance, like we are animals, but for humans, we have natures, we have tendencies, we want to do certain things because they're a part of like how we act in general. Like biological processes is obviously one. Like we tend to be attracted, or attractive people tend to be treated nicer. They get a lot more attention and all that stuff. Like that is obvious, that's natural. But I also think people with good ideas get some attention as well. People with good ideas, people who have revolutionized like science, for instance, like Stephen Hawking, for instance. Sorry, this is, I just gotta make sure I don't trip and fall while I'm doing this. But once again, you could just argue there are exceptions to the rule, but I really think what makes us stand out as people, as human beings, is our ability to choose, and to choose differently from what our natures are, what we naturally think. Like, we can think something, but we don't have to act on it. And I'm sure, like, Asman would agree with that, but he'll speak for the majority. I'd say that would be his argument. Obviously, I'm not trying to argue with him, but it is something that's been on my mind since he kind of triggered it into my mind. And like, now I'm thinking about what would be my arguments against how he sees things. So that's sort of something that I wanted to get out, is just the whole human nature versus like choice type of thing. Like, we don't always have to choose according to our natures. Like, we have the ability to be like, this is something I value, even though like I naturally lean towards doing something or doing the thing that is against my value. It doesn't mean that I have to do it. Like, I can choose to do the thing that acts more according to my values. And to me, that's the core difference. And I wanted to give that acknowledgement. And personally for me, I don't think that's like necessarily something that's super hard to do either, to go against like what is natural. Because I just feel like so much of our world, so much of what we've built is so creative, so unnatural. Like these playgrounds, for instance, and the fields, sports, videos, everything. Like, all of it is a testament to how incredible humans are and how smart they are. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, to get it out, to just say like, I really do think people are better than better than just their nature, and like most people are. That's it for this one.